She got in there. I mean, she made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us, and what a day it was for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, they only put 53 guys on the roster every year. The Jaguars added 6 guys between today and yesterday that will absolutely be on the 53-man roster. So over 10% of your 2024 Jacksonville Jaguars were added in free agency or via trade. It was a very interesting last day and a half. Excuse me, and we'll dive into all of it tonight here on Hacker After Dark. They made a couple of stops in Buffalo. Jaguars get a new center, Mitch Morse, from the Bills. Jaguars get a new wide receiver, Gabe Davis, from the Bills. We'll go to Buffalo. My buddy Sal Capaccio, WGR Radio, and the sideline reporter on the Bills Radio Network. He will join us coming up towards the top of the 9 o'clock hour, and we'll talk a little Mitch Morse. We'll talk a little Gabe Davis with Sal Capaccio up in Buffalo. We'll go to New England later on in the 9 o'clock hour. Zach Cox, who's covered the Patriots for years. We'll do a little Mac Jones talk, as again, that started this whole thing. And boy, some of you were really upset about that yesterday. I think the waters have cooled on that just a little bit because the Jaguars were arguably the most active team today. Day one, legal tampering. We believe all the guys they've agreed to terms with will ultimately sign here. Of course, the Jaguars thought they had a kicker a few hours ago, and then he had a change of heart, I guess, in Will Lutz. Hope he misses every kick now out in the Mile High City. Not that I'm holding any grudge to Lutz, but I don't like the fact that it was one L anyway in Will. It would have confused me all year. So to each his own. Whatever. Will Lutz remains, but the Jaguars do have 5 new additions. If you include Mac Jones, that is 6 new additions in the last day and a half. We'll talk about all of it with Hayes Carline. You hear him every afternoon on the Frangie Show. He'll hop on with us here in less than 20 minutes. But we got a lot to get into. Let's do it right now. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we give you a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
We will obviously keep you updated if events warrant here over our 2-hour period. But the Jacksonville Jaguars had a day today. I don't think there's any question about that. Trent Baalke had a day today. Now, I know, based on conversations I've had with my own circle of friends, talking to you, the good men and women that listen to 1010XL, social media, I know, dare I say, a majority of you are not Trent Baalke fans. And I would go as far as to say with some of you, it literally doesn't matter what Trent Baalke does. You will find flaw with it. It doesn't matter. He could do anything. He could get Justin Jefferson for a 7th-round pick in 2029. You would find some sort of flaw with that. You would find a way to criticize Trent Baalke. So to each his own. That's your prerogative and you're entitled to it. But I'm going to talk in reality. And what reality today is the Jacksonville Jaguars are a better football team now than they were 64 days ago when the season ended in Nashville. The Jaguars did a lot to improve their team. Let's go in order. Mac Jones. Hopefully he never sees the field in 2024, unless it's in a blowout Jaguar win. But he is an upgrade over C.J. Beathard. I was blown away. I was stunned that I had people legitimately arguing with me yesterday saying C.J. Beathard was better than Mac Jones. No, he is not. No, he's not. That's as PG as I'm going to make it. Mac Jones is a better backup quarterback than C.J. Beathard. Why'd the Jaguars bring him in? Because they think Mac Jones is better. Apparently C.J.'s having some health-related issues. At least that was some report that was out. I have no idea what that means. But did that factor in? Perhaps. But the Jaguars get a one-year rental, and I can tell you this, you could do a lot worse at backup quarterback in this league than Mac Jones. A guy who's thrown 46 touchdowns, a guy who made a Pro Bowl in 2022. Again, if Mac Jones plays for you this year, something went horribly wrong. But he is a better backup, keyword backup, than C.J. Beathard. So from that and that alone, that's an upgrade for the Jaguars. Now let's go to what happened today. Boy, it feels like Mitch Morse happened 3 weeks ago, doesn't it? It happened 12 hours ago. That's how much transpired today here for the Jags. It's an upgrade. I know most of you were done with Luke Fortner, right? I've said repeatedly Luke Fortner deserves to be on the roster. I think Luke Fortner is going to be one of your best 9 offensive linemen in training camp. I believe he will be on the 53-man roster. I just didn't want him to be the center. And he's not going to be. They went out and they got a former Pro Bowler, a team captain from Buffalo, a guy that's been in huddles with Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen in his days back in Kansas City and most recently with the Bills. Pittsburgh really wanted Mitch Morse. He chose to come to Jacksonville. That's huge. So now all of a sudden your starting offensive line is Cam Robinson, Ezra Cleveland, Mitch Morse, Brandon Sheriff, and Anton Harrison. And now you have Walker Little, Luke Fortner, Blake Hance, who they re-signed, coming off the bench. I'm okay with that, assuming they don't get injured and assuming suspensions don't happen, like happened last year, and then the thing gets derailed. But on the surface, you re-sign Ezra Cleveland, you bring back Mitch Morse, you have Anton Harrison and Cam as your tackles. Hopefully Brandon Sheriff drinks out of the fountain of youth this offseason. They're better on the offensive line. Gabe Davis. Now, we still don't have 100% clarity what this means about Calvin Ridley. I think people will tell you that the longer this goes, the better it might be for Jacksonville. I still would find it hard to believe that the Jaguars could figure out a way to have Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, and Calvin Ridley. If they do, hashtag Balky Masterclass will be trending worldwide. I just don't foresee that happening. If it does, it's going to be unbelievable. But let's deal in reality, what we have right now. I love the Gabe Davis signing. I'm surprised some of you, at least the ones I was reading on social media, were having issues with it. How many times do you get to sign? He's 24 now, by the way. He'll be 25 next month. So he'll be 25 when the season starts. A 25-year-old wide receiver that has 27 touchdown catches in the National Football League. I'm willing to bet not a lot of teams get to do that in free agency. 25! And he's got 27 touchdowns already. He's averaging 16 yards a catch. Oh, but he's not a number one. Are we really going to do that again? Are we really going to do that again? Is that a rite of passage here in Northeast Florida where fans are contractually obligated, if they bleed teal and support the Jaguars, they have to say, oh, he's not a wide receiver one. Yeah, you know what? Neither was Christian Kirk. And I heard all of you 2 years ago, after you went to Pro Football Reference or ESPN or wherever you went to look up his numbers, oh, hacker, Christian Kirk's never been a 1,000-yard receiver. Christian Kirk's not a number one. What are we going to do? Yeah. Christian Kirk's pretty good, right? Pretty good. In the words of Larry David, pretty good. Gabe Davis is going to have the same exact result here. Same exact result. It's going to be Christian Kirk all over again. You get a young, mid-20s wide receiver that's hungry to prove himself outside of the shadow of a much bigger target. Christian Kirk had to deal with DeAndre Hopkins in Arizona. Gabe Davis had to deal with Stephon Diggs in Buffalo. You get Gabe Davis here back in the state of Florida where he went to college at UCF. He's a big physical wide receiver. He's good in the run game for blocking as well. Oh, he's only got 48 catches as a maximum for a year. So what? And the Jaguars didn't even pay him what I thought they'd have to. They got a good deal there. 3 years for 39, could be worth 50 with incentives. It's a good deal. I love the Gabe Davis signing. And you guys know this. I'm never ultra positive guy. Far from it. But I love the Gabe Davis signing. Darnell Savage. That was probably the one that confused me a little bit until they brought in Ronald Darby an hour and a half ago. I'll get to him in a moment. Darnell Savage is the replacement for Rayshawn Jenkins. You know how I know that? Because of what they're paying him. There's not a competition between Darnell Savage and Antonio Johnson, not with the money Savage is getting. He is your starter opposite Cisco. Is he a younger version of Rayshawn Jenkins? Maybe. He's 26. I believe he'll be 27 when the season starts. I know this. Green Bay fans were not happy about losing him. He had some injuries last year with a calf, but he started a lot of games in his career. A lot of experience. I like it. I like it. Again, surprised by it. That one probably surprised me the most. But I like it. Devin Duvernay from Baltimore. Former All-Pro, former Pro Bowler. It's Jamal Agnew 2.0. Except he might be better than Jamal Agnew. That's at least the word. We're going to go to Baltimore tomorrow night and talk about Duvernay and talk about Ronald Darby. Both guys from Buffalo that the Jaguars are bringing in. But I think it's Jamal Agnew's replacement. I'm not breaking any news there. Guy's been to the Pro Bowl a couple of times, was a former All-Pro, is a return man, is listed as a wide receiver. Again, I think that's kind of like Jamal Agnew. So was Agnew was a DB that wanted to turn himself into a wide receiver, which he did. Duvernay's already a wide receiver. I just think hopefully you're getting a better, younger version of Jamal Agnew with Duvernay. And then Ronald Darby tonight, that happened about, an hour ago. 30 years old. He turned 30 in January, so he'll be 30 this football season. Been in the league a long time. Has battled some injury issues, but not really any as of late. And like I was telling Baloo, you can tell a lot when a fan base and a media of a team from a guy that left to come to Jacksonville by their reaction. And Baltimore fan media reaction within the last hour, they are upset they've lost Ronald Darby. That's good enough for me. If they thought he was good enough to start in that Baltimore Ravens secondary, that's good enough for me. Again, I remember him at Florida State. I remember him. He was in Buffalo for a while. He's traveled around a little bit. Last year was in Baltimore. Has had some nice things that he's done. He's a veteran, no question about it, but I do like it. So to sum up, Mac Jones, upgrade at backup quarterback. Mitch Morse, your brand new starting center. Gabe Davis, I love everything about it. Darnell Savage, again, probably the biggest surprise to me, but he's played a lot of football. He's experienced. Bring him to Jacksonville, see what he's got. Devin Duvernay, probably an upgrade and younger than Jamal Agnew. And Ronald Darby, Baltimore fans, media are upset that he's gone. Trent Baalke. It's kind of a seesaw with him, right? Some days we're high on him. Some days we're low on him. Some days it doesn't matter because you guys just will find flaw with anything that he does. To me, I like to live in the here and now. Do I agree with everything that he's done? Of course not. Do I think he's made mistakes? You bet. But I'm also going to give the guy credit where credit's due. And I think today, really the last 30 hours, was a good period for Jaguar general manager Trent Baalke. if we're going to crush the guy when he makes bad moves, in the interest of fairness, you got to give him credit when he makes good moves. And in my opinion, I think the Jaguars have made some very good moves in the last day and a half. Curious to see what happens with Ridley. We'll probably know sooner rather than later. Obviously, the Josh Allen extension is a big deal. Probably a couple of more bargain free agents, and then all eyes to the draft. But for right now, on the 11th day of March in 2024, what he's done in the last day and a half, I'll give Trent Baalke 2 thumbs up. I think he's done a good job. 641-1010 on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Your text, always welcome here on Hacker After Dark. Again, we're glad you're with us on a Monday evening, a free agency Monday here in Jacksonville, Florida. If anything breaks Jaguar-wise, we will certainly let you know up until 10 o'clock this evening. Coming up next, my buddy Hayes Carline. You hear him every afternoon on the Frangie Show. You can also get him here on Hacker After Dark. Jacksonville, 6 new Jaguars. We'll talk about all of it with Hayes Carline next on a Monday night edition of Hacker After Dark.
Now, Studio Talk with Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
We lost it.
The Drill.
We almost came to blows. We're like face to face, like a manager and an umpire. You know, we're like, hey, we're not talking about it.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Hacker here for Awaken 180. And look, after my announcement of starting Awaken 180 weight loss, everyone is asking me about it. So I'll go ahead and update you. 25 pounds down in just 2 weeks. 25 pounds. Go pick up a 25-pound dumbbell. That's what I've lost in just 2 weeks with Awaken 180. Look, I've done a lot of diets that have certainly not worked in my past. Awaken 180 is literally the best diet I've ever done. It is absolutely sensational. You get coaching every week. They guide you along what to eat, what not to eat. They send you the food. It is absolutely phenomenal if that's the plan that you choose. Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken180weightloss.com is the website. You can also call them 844-346-1800. 844-346-1800. I'm down 25. Come join me. It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Bueller Air Conditioning presents Are You Cool?
Today's lucky contestant, a cheese negotiator from Jacksonville, Florida. Meet Margaret Drent.
How do you like my costume, Bob? I'm Gruyere.
Well, you smell great, Margaret. But here's your question. What's wrong with your air conditioner when you hear this sound?
Oh, that's a toughie. Are you sure you don't want me to tell you the suggested retail price of a box of rice-a-roni?
5 seconds, Margaret.
Is it a compressor motor starter failure?
That's right, Margaret. And if you call the coolness experts at Bueller Air Conditioning, we can fix that faulty AC to make sure that you are cool.
It's surprisingly stuffy inside a giant cheese.
You signed the waiver, Margaret.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Dave Binion here with my son Ammon, who is the air duct cleaning manager at Zero Res. So Ammon, you may notice a little rattle in my voice and some puffiness in my eyes. That's because allergy season is coming on. Can Zero Res help?
Yes, your health has a lot to do with the air you breathe. A clean and healthy home begins with clean air. At Zero Res, we can help clean the air in your home by cleaning your air ducts, cleaning the coils in your HVAC units, and fogging the system with a powerful antimicrobial that helps kill and control the growth of microorganisms in your air. We also have options for maintaining your clean air with our excellent inline air purifier and UV lights that will help keep your system clean and healthy. At Zero Res, we are more than just air duct cleaners. We're a clean air specialist.
Have Zero Res air duct duct specialists out, and right now we'll give you $50 off your air duct cleaning, and while we're at it, we'll give you $50 off your dryer vent cleaning. Zero Res.
Spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On March 11, 1941, Hall of Famer Bronco Nagurski regains the World Wrestling title from Ray Steele after losing a year prior.
Mortgage rates have lowered going into this spring selling season. Have you had problems selling your home in the past? Are you looking for a promise, a solution? I'm here to give it for you. It's Chad and Sandy and chadandsandy.com, the real estate experts I trust and recommend with the sale of your home, or mine for that matter. Maybe you want maximum equity, or perhaps you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades. Chad and Sandy deliver this simple promise. They guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. You have literally nothing to lose. Take Pete in Lakeshore. I was in a pickle. I heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called because I needed to cash out on a rental property fast. I was struggling to rent it. I called Chad and Sandy, and I got an offer for full asking price within days. These guys made it easy and delivered big time results. Call the agents I trust and recommend to sell your home. Chad and Sandy, they guarantee to sell your home or they will buy it. Find out more at chadandsandy.com or call 414-6200.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision, and equal opportunity employer.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free. No credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Hey, it's Prosser here, and Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make that happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards, get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. So call now, 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508. That's loanpronto.com at 904-999-1508. NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Inc. card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for Business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Boy, it was quite a day here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Day one of legal tampering in NFL free agency. Of course, all these deals cannot become official until Wednesday, and we certainly saw that with Will Lutz, who I guess was a Jaguar for a couple hours, and then he had a change of heart and is going back to Denver. But the Jaguars have made a lot of interesting signings. Let's talk about all of them with Hayes Carline. You hear him every afternoon on the Frangie Show, and you always get him right here on Hacker After Dark. Hayes, how we doing?
Hacker, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Hayes, I know it's been a busy day for you, man. Appreciate you doing this with us here tonight. And before we really go individually down the line of who they brought in, just your overall thoughts in totality, even going back to Mac Jones yesterday, on what the Jaguars have accomplished here in the last 30 or so hours.
I thought the offseason really got off to a shaky start, starting with the inability to get Josh Allen done to a long-term deal and losing the ability to tag Calvin Ridley. And, yeah, then you saw the Mac Jones thing and the keeping Brandon Sheriff on a restructure. So I was concerned, but I thought today they reversed things, and I thought they had a magnificent day. Mitch Morse is exactly what they needed, a big-time upgrade at center, veteran player. He's worked with Doug Peterson. He was Mahomes' center his first year as a starter when he won the MVP and threw for 50 touchdowns. Obviously, he's done great things with Josh Allen in Buffalo. So I think it'll be good for Trevor and certainly good for that offensive line. Again, I'm not a huge fan of bringing Sheriff and Cam Robinson back, but that's what they wanted to do. But at least they've added a quality center upgrade there. And then I thought, to pivot off of Ridley, we don't kind of know exactly what's going to happen there. To add a player like Gabe Davis, I think makes some sense. And so Savage, I think, is a good addition. It's safety. You don't really know what you have in Antonio Johnson. It looks good, but I respect the fact that they didn't just hand the keys over to Antonio Johnson when they cut Rayshon Jenkins. It was a deep safety market, and they took advantage of that, adding Darnell Savage today. Love the Duvernay pickup as a punt returner to replace Agnew. So, yeah, I think a lot of things were accomplished today. And I think on the whole, kind of a clumsy start, I'd say, is now turned into a pretty good start to the offseason for the Jaguars, where they're not going into the draft. And it's just, obvious that they've got 2 or 3 gaping holes. I still think they'll go corner at 17. But if the right player were to fall, they could probably go ahead and take that player if they believe that's a special player and move their corner need to 48 in the second round.
You get Hayes Carline every afternoon on the Frangie Show. You also get him right here on Hacker After Dark. All right, Hayes, let's go rapid fire, kind of in succession, and get a quick thought from you on each guy. We'll begin with Mac Jones. Here's my thought from yesterday. Look, Mac Jones hopefully will not see the field here in Jacksonville in 2024. If he does, that's a problem because that means Trevor Lawrence got hurt or the Jaguars are getting blown out. I guess on the flip side, maybe the Jaguars are blowing somebody else out and Mac gets in there for mop-up time. Having said all that, to me, you could do a lot worse for a backup quarterback than Mac Jones. I think he's an upgrade over C.J. Beathard. So I didn't mind that yesterday, and I was actually kind of surprised the negativity about it by some people on social media.
Yeah, I didn't like the move at the time. Now, again, if you had told me if the Mac Jones thing we just found out 15 minutes ago after the Morse signing and the Gabe Davis, and then I think it'd be like, oh, well, who cares? I think a part of it was the timing. I don't love it, and I don't like giving up picks when you don't have to. I think he was going to get cut, so obviously you could have just signed him. But, whatever. I don't subscribe to, well, it's a 6th-round pick, and that pick isn't going to amount to anything. Yeah, it probably won't, but it definitely won't now. And, because you're right. Ideally, Mac Jones will really never take a snap for the Jaguars in a regular season game. Trevor will go the distance and, play all the meaningful snaps, and Mac Jones will leave as a free agent. So, I'm not gonna crush the deal. I thought Mac Jones would be the second best player in that draft class. I was wrong. In terms of quarterbacks, I thought he'd be better than I thought it'd be Trevor, Mac Jones, and the rest. Obviously, on the whole, it's turned into a disappointing group. But I really thought he'd be a good pro. He wasn't dealt a great hand in New England, so I definitely acknowledge that for Mac. But I think because of obviously him being from here, 1st-round pick, it got a lot of buzz. Had they just signed Drew Lock as a free agent, I'd been fine with that too. Now they just need to cut Beathard and save the $2 million that they'll save doing that. There's no need for them to keep all 3 of those guys, in my opinion.
And it makes the preseason interesting, too, and we'll see Mac Jones out there for the Jaguars. Now let's go to this morning. Mitch Morse was the first domino to fall. He's going to be the starting center. And, Hayes, I'll tell you this, man. Cam Robinson, Ezra Cleveland, Mitch Morse, Brandon Sheriff, Anton Harrison, and all of a sudden you look on the bench potentially with Luke Fortner, Walker Little, Blake Hance, Cooper Hodges. Again, to me, you could do a lot worse than that, assuming the offensive line stays healthy and there are, of course, no suspensions this year as opposed to last year.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Availability is going to be what determines this group for 24. I mean, Cam Robinson is, certainly had a lot of injuries in his career. Can he stay healthy? Brandon Sheriff, I think is probably not going to give you 17 games, but hopefully he does. So that's my concern. I like the Ezra Cleveland move. I thought, I graded him on a curve. He came over at the deadline. He was hurt. He'd missed a couple games with a foot, I believe, coming over. He's got to get acclimated. Then he gets hurt again. So and we've seen some guard money get really big today. It's 2 different guard deals, I think, tapped out over $20 million per.
Yeah, the Carolina Panthers are crazy for doing what they did for Robert Hunt. That was insane.
Yeah, absolutely. And wasn't there another one? Didn't somebody, the Eagles gave Dickerson like $21 million per year? Yeah. I mean, that's an in-house guy, but anyway, it's a lot of money for a guard, and so it certainly made the Ezra Cleveland money look way more reasonable. So yeah, I mean, the offensive line, I think Morris is a tremendous upgrade. So you've upgraded center, and you're right. I think then you just have to hope that Cleveland's better than any left guard that you've had in recent years. You have to hope that Cam Robinson and Brandon Sheriff can stay healthy. And then you have to hope Anton Harrison continues to elevate. He had a great rookie season. We've had teams or players that certainly have had sophomore slumps. Hopefully that doesn't happen to Anton. Hopefully he just keeps ascending and becomes a superstar. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good group. Like you said, they've got good depth. The Walker Little thing's weird because, I guess he's just going to play out his rookie deal and then leave. I mean, there basically isn't any sort of seat at the table for him now. I guess if everybody stays healthy, he'll barely play, and then that'll be it. He'll be done with his rookie contract here. So, that's a little puzzling to me. Again, I think there would be value in cutting Cam Robinson, pocketing the $16.5 million to devote at another position, and having Walker Little be one of your 2 starting tackles, whether that's Anton at left, Walker at right, or vice versa. So, I am surprised by that, but obviously they want that veteran guy in Cam Robinson, even though he's been unreliable at times for them.
Couple of more for Hayes Carline. You get him every afternoon on the Frangie Show. He's always kind enough to join us here on Hacker After Dark. Hayes, Gabe Davis is probably the headliner today. Look, it's not every day that you can sign. He's not even 25 yet. He'll be 25 at the beginning of April. That you're going to sign a 25-year-old wide receiver that already has 27 touchdowns in the National Football League. Now, he doesn't have over 48 catches in the league, but I'll remind people they did the same thing about Christian Kirk. Everybody went to the footballreference.com and looked up Christian Kirk's numbers, and he was never a 1,000-yard receiver, and he never did this, and he never did that, and obviously that got blown out of the water his first year here in Jacksonville. To me, Hayes, there is a lot to like about the Gabe Davis signing here in Jacksonville.
I think that's a great comparison, Hacker, and I think in looking at it, to me, it's the explosiveness that you've alluded to and how young he is. He's played a lot of football. He's played in big football games. He has 27 receiving touchdowns, and that's been a consistent. It's not like he had 1 year with 13 and then a year with 2. I mean, he's been, I think, 7, 6, 7, 7 in his 4 years. I mean, if he catches 7 touchdowns, you take that right now. And that's what he gives you. That's what he's given Buffalo in 3 of the 4 years. And 6 was the bad year. So he's consistently somebody who finds the end zone. I like that about him. I also like the fact that he's not going to have to be the star here. You've got Christian Kirk. You've got Evan Ingram. I'm assuming Zay Jones is still going to be on the team. So Gabe Davis slides in there where he's probably, option 3 most weeks behind Kirk and Ingram. So I think that's a comfortable place for him. And because of the explosiveness, I absolutely. I think there's some good potential there. And he's one of those guys that I think you can say, I think his best football could still be ahead of him.
Darnell Savage, the one defensive guy they've added, the safety from Green Bay, kind of caught me off guard, Hayes. At the time you and I are talking, they haven't done anything at corner. They haven't done anything on the interior D-line. They decided to go Darnell Savage. Well, I like the guy. I thought he was a good player for Green Bay. It looks like he's going to be the replacement for Rayshawn Jenkins, particularly with the money that they're giving him. But what were your thoughts there?
I was surprised, too, because I thought they'd hand the keys to Antonio Johnson. But I'll give them credit. I'll give Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson credit for taking advantage of a loaded market at that position. They released Jenkins. Then we saw several more safeties get released. Savage is a good player, to your point. I mean, I think he's a pros pro, and you know what you're getting with him. There's not going to be any surprises, and there still would have been that element of surprise with Antonio Johnson in terms of what he would be. I mean, you'd be talking about if he's your starting safety, a guy who played 150 defensive snaps as a rookie, jumping to about 1,000 in his second year. And, I think it was smart of the Jaguars to say that might be too big of a jump. We may need to see more before he gets that kind of promotion. I still think he'll help him as a big nickel. So I think he'll get a chunk of snaps there, depending on the offense that they're playing. But I like the Savage move. I think Cisco and Savage form a nice tandem. And, again, it allows you to play a little bit more with that Antonio Johnson big nickel that I think has potential when the Jaguars are playing the right offense.
Devin Duvernay was the one late this afternoon from Baltimore, a Pro Bowler, was a former All-Pro, a special teamser. I mean, is he Jamal Agnew 2.0, essentially?
He is, except I think he might even be a little bit better. I mean, you look at these numbers, and they're pretty freakish in terms of what he's done as a punt returner and a kick returner in this league. Again, he's just now hitting what should be the prime of his career. I want to say he'll be 27 when the new year begins. And, teams can manipulate kickoff now, so I don't know how many opportunities he'll really have. But obviously on punt, he's going to have a lot. And that can really make a big difference. I mean, again, Jamal Agnew had a big hand in that playoff run. He's been the spark in a handful of big Jaguar wins. Duvernay has that potential as well. I would expect that he will be somebody that will be very popular among Jaguar fans by the time we get to the halfway part of the year, because I think he's going to be able to break one or two of these things that certainly could be the difference between a win and a loss.
Hayes, as we wrap up, again, Hayes Carline here with us. Interior D-line and corner look to be like they're blinking red as far as what you need. You need some depth there, but they got to be running out of money, right? We don't have all the particulars yet as far as how much cap room they have. Do you think they're done in free agency, or could there be some more activity tonight into tomorrow?
I think they're going to have to make some room if they want to continue to be active. Now, again, you'd love to see a Josh Allen extension. We've seen a few players get tagged last week. Their clubs were able to work out a deal with them. You'd love to see that here, because that cap figure right now is $24 million for Josh Allen. A new deal, that number could get reduced to maybe $7 or $8 million. Maybe you could make a run at a T. Higgins trade, or certainly be active on a couple more pretty quality free agents. So, that would be a mechanism. Again, Cam Robinson has a very high cap number. Do they look at doing something with him? It certainly doesn't appear that way, but that would be the easiest way if they wanted to create some room. If they couldn't get the Josh Allen deal done, then you weigh it. Well, would we be better off releasing Cam Robinson and allocating that $16.5 million to the endeavor we want to be able to get to? So, I think we've seen it all, unless they do some big move with Josh Allen or Cam Robinson.
Absolutely crazy day, Hayes. A very busy day. I know you've been very busy. We certainly appreciate you taking time out for us tonight. We'll see what happens in the coming days, but certainly a very active day here in Duval County. Thank you, my friend.
Hacker, always enjoy it. Thanks for having me.
It's Fantasy Golf at the Players, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors.
It's got a chance.
If your golfers score the lowest at TPC Sawgrass, win $1,000 of jewelry from Beards Diamonds. Enter at 1010XL.com.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy, classic wings. Made to order, cooked to perfection. and sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. And of course, spicy Cajun fried corn. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at wingstop.com.
Men suffering from ED or PE, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Prime Men's Medical Center. For a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. You'll even get a gift that enhances performance in the bedroom. Call 904-664-8217.
Doc Rooter is a full-service plumbing company that's locally owned and operated, fully licensed and insured. We'll be at your home in a timely manner, provide honest pricing, and ensure the job is completed correctly, or we'll make it right. Doc Rooter can handle all plumbing jobs, including repairing broken pipes, clearing clogged drains, to installing new fixtures, water heaters, garbage disposals, and full repipes for older homes. If you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769.
It's time, basketball bettors. It's March Mania. Hicken here to tell you about BetUS.com. I endorse one sportsbook and casino, BetUS. They've been driving to the basket for 30 years. This year, BetUS has an epic three-pointer, a 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Yep, 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started. Visit BetUS.com or give them a call, 1-800-MY-BETUS. BetUS, where the game begins.
The First Coast Games is an annual corporate challenge to introduce fun activities into the workplace and focus on your employees' health and wellness goals, with some friendly competition, of course. Registration is now open through the First Coast YMCA for both recreational and challenge divisions, including pickleball, cornhole, volleyball, flag football, and other team sports. The games will begin in March. Register your company and teams at fcymca.org.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the Southeast to offer multi-unit hair grafting and the 45-minute PRP treatments. Grow your hair back. Call now for a free in-person evaluation. 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com.
Hicken here, the Borland Groover Foundation proudly presents the annual March to Get Screened 5K race and 1 mile fun run. Sunday, April 14th, the race starts at 7 a.m. under the Fuller Warren Bridge. Their mission, raise awareness about colorectal cancer and related deaths. All proceeds benefit the Borland Groover Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
To thank you for 40 unforgettable years, Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs, like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Weekends were made for sports, and I'll tell you my take on this weekend's best options. Hicken here. Watch for Weekend with Dan on YouTube and Facebook. Weekend with Dan is brought to you by Stone Core. We do outdoors better.
Ball forward, take your base.
The only thing worse than a pitcher running out of gas on the mound is your old phone running out of storage for your photos in the stands.
Goodbye, home run.
Switch to Verizon and get a great deal on a new iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage for all the ballpark pics you want. Just trade in your iPhone, any model, in any condition, so you'll feel like you're winning, even when your team's not. Trade in any iPhone in any condition for a great deal on iPhone 15 Pro with Unlimited Ultimate, and get iPad and Apple Watch SE with eligible service plan, only on Verizon.
The 2024 NFL season is approaching fast, and the Jaguars are celebrating their 30th season. Be at the bank for all the big plays and big moments of this milestone year by locking in your season tickets now. With packages for every budget and exclusive perks throughout the season, there's no better time to become a season ticket member. Be at the bank for every touchdown and secure your seats by going to Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000 today. We'll see you at the bank.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but new Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with new Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock tonight. If anything breaks with the Jaguars in the next hour or so, we will certainly keep you updated. What a day it was for Jacksonville. We'll continue that conversation. Less than 20 minutes from now, we'll actually go up to Buffalo. My buddy Sal Capaccio, WGR Radio in Buffalo and the Bills Radio Network, will join us to talk not only about Gabe Davis, but Mitch Morse as well. The Jaguars, a brand new wide receiver, a brand new center. Both were in Buffalo the last few years. We'll get Sal Capaccio from Buffalo on to talk about both guys in less than 20 minutes. What a day one of legal tampering it was. The running back market. Well, we had a lot of change. Tony Pollard leaving the Dallas Cowboys, coming to the Tennessee Titans. To be honest with you, the Titans underwhelmed me a little bit today. They had a boatload of money, and they still have a boatload of money. They brought in Tony Pollard, so they now have two running backs on their roster with injury concerns, big injury concerns in their past, with Pollard and Tajay Spears. That signifies the end of Derrick Henry in Nashville. So they got worse at running back because Derrick Henry is better than Tony Pollard. Chidobe Awuzie is a nice defensive back, but he's had ACL problems. Tennessee brought him in from Cincinnati, and then Cushenberry from Denver as a starting center. That's probably a good signing. Give him credit there. But for all the money Tennessee had, a little bit underwhelmed with what Tennessee did today. The running back market kicked off with DeAndre Swift leaving Philadelphia, going to Chicago. Doesn't DeAndre Swift just seem like a Chicago Bears running back? His tough, physical game, that just seems like a Chicago Bears tailback, and he'll be that now. Third team for the former Georgia Bulldog, obviously started in Detroit, then to Philadelphia, and now to Chicago. Austin Eckler, going from the West Coast to the East Coast. He leaves the Chargers. He comes to the Washington Commanders. Washington's another team that had a lot of money. Got some nice pieces on defense, but clearly the headliner so far is Austin Eckler. He'll replace Antonio Gibson, who left Washington to go to New England earlier in the day. And then you look, right, DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard. Certainly the biggest one of the day, though, is Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley leaving the New York Football Giants and going back to the state of Pennsylvania, where he played his college football, to the Philadelphia Eagles. You want to talk about some bad blood? Man alive. Those Giant fans will be ready for Saquon Barkley when he comes back in the green of the Philadelphia Eagles this year. A heated rivalry just continuing to get more and more heated. So the running back market was very interesting today. The quarterback market. Kirk Cousins to the Atlanta Falcons on a huge contract. Can you imagine 10, even 15 years ago, heck, maybe even more recent than that, a 35-year-old quarterback with an Achilles injury getting paid like Kirk Cousins did today? Modern science, recuperation, where we are in today's medical field, man alive. Atlanta throwing caution to the wind about a 35-year-old with an Achilles as they gave Kirk Cousins a boatload of cash to come to the ATL. How about the money Gardner Minshew got to go to Las Vegas? First off, just imagine Gardner Minshew in Las Vegas. But good for Gardner. Of all the places you could have gone, that's a great spot. The only guy they really have there is Aiden O'Connell. That'll probably be a competition. Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, mano a mano for that Raider job. Gardner picking very well there, I think, and getting paid pretty nicely as well. You look at a couple of things in the AFC South. We haven't been on since Foley Fatukasi, former Jaguar D lineman, decides to stay in the division with the Houston Texans. Houston did a lot from the Jaguars and the Titans. Fatukasi from here. Houston also adds a couple of former Titans. Danico Autry leaving Tennessee to go to Houston. Autry's a good player. I don't know why Tennessee let him go, and they let him go to a division rival. That's interesting. Also, Algier, the linebacker, was formerly in San Francisco, spent last year at Tennessee. He now gets reunited with D'Amico Ryans in Houston. Houston also got cornerback Jeff Okudah. There was some thought that Jeff Okudah would come to Jacksonville. He played for Ryan Nielsen last year in Atlanta, the corner. But he ends up going to the Texans. The Texans didn't make big splashes, but I kind of like what they did. Again, Tennessee, I was lukewarm on. Indianapolis kept their own, and it was good on them. They kept Michael Pittman Jr., and they kept big defensive tackle Grover Stewart. Those are the two guys that I thought the Colts needed to keep. Those are the two guys they kept. They're probably pretty happy in Indianapolis. You look at other interesting signings. How about Robert Hunt? You say, well, who's Robert Hunt? Well, funny you ask. Robert Hunt, an offensive guard that played for the Miami Dolphins last year. 5 years, $100 million with the Carolina Panthers. That Ezra Cleveland deal doesn't look so bad now, does it? Now, the $100 million's not guaranteed, but a lot of it is. That is a lot of money for an offensive guard. That's why I think Jacksonville did a very good job in getting Ezra Cleveland for what appears to be a bargain. Again, Trent Baalke did a good job, man. Whether you hate to admit it or not, I love some of the things Trent Baalke has done in the last couple of days. You look at other signings that have transpired as well. The Miami Dolphins got raided. Absolutely raided. Christian Wilkins to the Las Vegas Raiders. Andrew Van Ginkel, the defensive end, to Minnesota. Robert Hunt, we just talked about, to Carolina. They had to cut Xavier Howard. They had to cut Jerome Baker. They've added a couple of pieces tonight, but it was not a good day for Miami. Not a good day at all. Good day for Tampa. You already had Mike Evans re-sign. Now you bring back Baker Mayfield. Good on Baker Mayfield. The guy that was left for dead in the NFL. Former number 1 overall pick. In 1 year, went from Cleveland to Carolina to the Los Angeles Rams. People thought his career was over. He goes to Tampa, replacing Tom Brady, mind you, and leads the Bucs to a division championship, and now gets handsomely rewarded with a brand new contract. I like Baker Mayfield, always have. Good on Baker Mayfield. That's a nice deal that he got in Tampa Bay today. Minnesota, I think, did some nice things. We mentioned Van Ginkel from Miami, also getting John Grenard. Grenard leaving the AFC South, leaving Houston, going to Minnesota. Minnesota also got Cashman, I believe, the linebacker from the Texans. So a couple of Texans going north to play in Minneapolis. A lot of teams made a lot of good moves. You know what's funny is about that as well? If you're on social media today, every free agent that was signed, every one, was a great pickup. I disagreed with some of the pickups. But you talk to different fan bases, different media, everybody thinks they're going to the Super Bowl, man. Everybody did great work today. It's the month of March. It's the month of hope. It's the month of optimism. Reality comes in September. But you have 6 months now to be hopeful and be optimistic that the free agents you brought in will be the difference in your team turning that corner in 2024. The Jaguars are also on that list. They're hopeful that Mitch Morse and Gabe Davis, both coming down from Buffalo. Morse, the center the Jaguars desperately needed. Gabe Davis, a playmaker, a wide receiver. Let's go to Buffalo. My buddy Sal Capaccio, WGR Radio and the Bills Radio Network. Let's talk about Mitch Morse. Let's talk about Gabe Davis. 2 former Bills, now Jaguars. We'll discuss both of them with Sal Capaccio next on a Monday night edition of Hacker After Dark.
Driving home with a Frangie show.
Let's go home! Let's go home, ladies and gentlemen! Let's go home!
Because there's no place like home.
Let's go home! Let's go home!
Afternoons on 1010XL.
Bueller Air Conditioning presents
Are You Cool?
Today's lucky contestant, a cheese negotiator from Jacksonville, Florida. Meet Margaret Drent.
How do you like my costume, Bob? I'm Gruyere.
Well, you smell great, Margaret. But here's your question. What's wrong with your air conditioner when you hear this sound?
Oh, that's a toughie. Are you sure you don't want me to tell you the suggested retail price of a box of Rice-A-Roni?
5 seconds, Margaret.
Is it a compressor motor starter failure?
That's right, Margaret. And if you call the coolness experts at Bueller Air Conditioning, we can fix that faulty AC to make sure that
you are cool!
It's surprisingly stuffy inside a giant cheese.
You signed the waiver, Margaret.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only costs are the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by May 23rd.
Are you tired of living with constant pain from torn ligaments or nagging tendinitis and bothersome joint pain? Say goodbye to endless medications and invasive surgeries. Go BioTarget Regenerative Treatment is available only at injury care centers. Their innovative approach helps you recover faster and get back to doing what you love without drugs or surgery. Don't just treat the symptoms, target the root cause with BioTarget. Visit GoBioTarget.com to learn more and schedule your appointment today.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Get ready for the Players' Championship, March 12th through 17th at TPC Sawgrass. Don't miss your chance to watch the PGA Tour's best compete to etch their name in history while enjoying a vibrant social scene. From local bites to the latest merchandise available in the PGA Tour fan shop, the Players offers the ultimate experience for everyone to enjoy. Secure your spot today. Tickets are on sale now at theplayers.com.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Florida and Florida State baseball face off at 1-1 Financial Ballpark Tuesday, March 26th for the Fresh from Florida Sunshine Showdown. The annual Florida State versus Florida baseball game is a can't-miss event hosted by Gator Bowl Sports. Tickets on sale now. Act soon. This event sells out quickly. Florida State versus Florida baseball, Tuesday, March 26th at 6 o'clock. Get tickets at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com, and we'll see you at the ballpark.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but new Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with new Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jacksonville Jaguars have a brand new center in the building. Former Pro Bowl center Mitch Morse, formerly of Kansas City and the Buffalo Bills, is on his way to Jacksonville after signing a 2-year contract this morning. One would think a starter. One would think he is now the replacement for Luke Fortner. We will see how that plays itself out this offseason, but certainly a veteran presence now in the middle of that Jaguar offensive line. With that, let's go to Buffalo. Our guy up in Buffalo is Sal Capaccio, WGR Radio in Buffalo. He's also the sideline reporter on the Bills Radio Network, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Sal, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You're getting a great human being and a terrific football player, Mitch Morse, down there, guys.
Let's first start with why. Was it simply an issue of money and the Bills having to have some cap casualties is why Mitch Morse was available?
I would say yes, because it didn't make sense otherwise, to be quite honest. This is not a player that has had a decline in production. In fact, quite the opposite. I thought that Mitch actually had maybe his best season in a Bills uniform since, early on when he signed in 2019. But either way, I mean, he was really good this year. It seems like that's the case here. He was going into the final year of his contract, so there wasn't much dead money to take on. It's a clean salary cap, swipe by releasing him. But it was a surprise to in fact, Ryan, I'll be honest with you, when we all do our projections, what's going to happen in the offseason, a lot of people said, well, maybe they'll cut Mitch. And I kept saying, I would think that he's more of an extension candidate than a cut candidate, to be honest with you.
Well, that's good to hear for us here in Jacksonville because there were problems at the center position with Luke Fortner last year. Now, Mitch is 31, right? I mean, he's not 25. He's been in the league for 9 years. But based on what you're saying, Sal, sounds like he's still playing some of his best football.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I would tell you that the one concern is, he's had concussion issues. And a few years ago, he missed several games with a concussion, but he's had multiple concussions in his career. Now, last year, he stayed completely healthy, played for, 17 games, played the playoff games, but it's always been something that people have talked about. And in fact, on Locker Cleanout Day, we had going into the last year of his deal, and people say, okay, he's making some money, he's had concussion history, you never know, right? He gets one, and what's going to happen? So I actually said to him, hey, do you plan on playing football again next year? And he looked at me, and we have a good relationship. He's like, why would you ask me that? That's kind of that's a weird question. He goes, but I get it. I understand. He said, but yeah, of course, I plan on coming back as long as they'll have me. Well, obviously, we know how that turned out. But that is the one issue and concern that has been here in Buffalo.
Sal Capaccio, WGR Radio in Buffalo and the Bills Radio Network, here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Sal, the type of player, road grader, finesse blocker, smart player. How would you assess Mitch Morse's game?
Well, he's really smart, obviously, and he's a center, and he's been in the league, and he's for quite a while. And, he's there for 1 year with, Patrick Mahomes, and then he goes to Josh Allen. How about that, right? Now he goes to Trevor Lawrence. You guys know Doug Peterson was his former OC in Kansas City, so he's going to really, tap into knowing, his system and his offense. As far as his physical, traits, much more finesse than power, but it doesn't mean he's not powerful at all. He's an athletic center. The Bills would have him move and get out in space. He does struggle with really stout defensive tackles, though, really stout nose guards specifically. When guys can really anchor against him, that he has a little trouble moving him. But that's not his game. But, it's just something that the Bills ask him to do either. He has plenty of strengths in his game, but that's an area where, he could use some work, he could use some help, or at least you're going to have people help him. But he can get out in space and he can move around.
I think you said one of the key things there, 9 years in the league, he's a smart player. He's going to be looked at to come in here as a veteran presence. It's a relatively young offensive line. The interesting thing is he's going to be right next to Brandon Sheriff, presumably. So you're going to have two old horses, if you will, center and right guard, and then three relatively young guys that are all still in their 20s. So will he welcome the leadership role, the guidance role for a lot of the young offensive linemen?
Oh, 100%. I mean, this is a guy that the way the offensive line raves about him here in Buffalo, young offensive line, right? I mean, like Deion Dawkins is a couple of years younger than him. He's not much younger, but, to hear Deion talk about what he's learned from Mitch and the room that they've built. And then now, Connor McGovern, the plan here is Connor McGovern's going to move from guard to center in Buffalo, and David Edwards will move into left guard. And even those guys talk about how much Mitch has helped them in their, short time in Buffalo, 1 year, just kind of being with him for 1 year. And then think about this. This is a really good point, too, for you guys there. You very much, you well know Osiris Torrance, here in Buffalo. He started every single game. I mean, for any rookie to start every game, but how about play every snap? Osiris Torrance played every single snap last year as a rookie for the Bills. Where he did it? Right next to Mitch Morris. So obviously Mitch Morris had a lot to do with, helping him out too.
Final moments, Sal Capaccio, WGR Radio in Buffalo, talking about the Jaguars' brand new center, Mitch Morse, who agreed to a contract earlier today. The Doug Peterson thing is interesting, too. Obviously, the OC for Mitch Morse when he was in Kansas City. And I think you bring up a great point. He was with Mahomes. He was with Josh Allen. Now he comes to Trevor Lawrence. Certainly that's going to be a very good thing for Trevor, to me, Sal, having a guy that was with two MVP quarterbacks during his last 5 or 6 years in the league.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, it helps a guy like Mitch to have, quarterbacks like that behind him to play with them. But, you think about that level of quarterback and trusting a center and how important that is. I will tell you, Josh Allen and Mitch Morse have a tremendous relationship. I'm sure, I haven't spoken to Josh about this, but I'm sure he's really, bummed to see his guy go, and that's, but he knows the nature of the business as well. So yeah, I think, you're getting a really fine player, and you're getting a great person off the field too. Mitch and his wife Caitlin have been really ingrained in our community here in Buffalo for the last several years, and they're just terrific people. They have a great family. So you're getting a really good human being on top of it.
That's a great thing for here in Jacksonville, no question about it. Sal, leave us with this as Mitch Morse departs for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Buffalo did a purge last week, right? They cut like 4 or 5 guys: Jordan Poyer, Tre'Davious White, Mitch Morse. I mean, what is the thought up your way about the Bills moving forward? Is it, I wouldn't call it a rebuild. I don't think you rebuild with a quarterback like Josh Allen, but is it a different mindset, or do they still believe they can be a contender in 2024?
Oh, they certainly believe they can be a contender, and they will. I mean, as long as you have Josh Allen under center, you'll always be a contender. I think that's the way you have to look at it. But, I think, look, I mean, these guys are players that have been here for 5, 6, 7 years in Jordan Poyer's case. They're a little bit older. They're making some money. This is the Bills becoming a new version of themselves, right? You think about how the Chiefs had to become a new version of themselves, and they wound up winning a Super Bowl still. And then you think about the Patriots for all those years. They would really kind of have a different iteration of themselves over every 4 or 5 years. They had to kind of change. And this is what's happening. Look, I mean, we don't love losing these players here, and especially guys like Mitch. But honestly, it kind of came time for some of this to happen. You just wish it would have happened under different circumstances, especially a guy like Tre'Davious, only because he's had 2 season-ending injuries over the last 3 years. But the Bills were fine after they brought in Rasul Douglas last year, and Christian Benford played well. Even if Tre'Davious came back, what is his role? Is he a starter? You paid him $16 million. These are things you have to make decisions on. So there's no doubt. There's no rebuild, like you said. It's not even really much of a reset. It's just kind of, allowing new blood to kind of take over these roles for the Buffalo Bills going forward. I posted something the other day on Twitter when it all happened, and I said, give me one word to describe to Bills fans what that day was like. I mean, oh my gosh, over 1,000 replies. And I'm telling you, Ryan, most of them were something along the lines of necessary or needed.
Mm-hmm. Sal Capaccio, WGR Radio in Buffalo. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on, Sal. Apparently, Mitch Morse is not the only Buffalo Bill coming to Jacksonville. It's being reported Gabe Davis is on his way here as well with a 3-year deal. I'm happy we had you on. Both Bills, Morse and Davis, coming to Jacksonville. Wow, your immediate reaction.
Well, I'm just sad for, the Buffalo community to lose another solid citizen in Gabe Davis and a really great locker room presence. This is a guy that was voted team captain of just his 4th year at a position at wide receiver with a team loaded with stars and veterans, right? I mean, think about that for a minute, Ryan. Like what that means and what you're getting down in Jacksonville. But let's remember, Chad Hall is there, wide receivers coach, right? Coached him here in Buffalo. They have a great relationship. I'm sure that had something to do with it. But look, I mean, it just was never going to be able, I think, for the Bills to retain Gabe, because I think the Bills really needed something a little different than what Gabe brings. And as much as they love Gabe, they just couldn't pay for probably what other teams are going to value him as. We're going to see the numbers here come out soon, I'm sure. And we'll see where it goes. But, you know, a loss for the Bills for sure, a gain for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I wonder where Jacksonville's going to play him. I mean, if you think he's a number one wide receiver, he's really not. So don't expect him to be that. Bills fans will tell you some of them he's not really number two. I think he is. He's put up solid number two numbers. But, you know, he's Ryan, he's a guy that he can get down the field, but he's not a burner. He can get some contested catches. I would say there's nothing he does exceptional except run block, but everything he does pretty well.
Yeah, you wonder what this means for Zay Jones. Obviously, he'll be teaming up with Christian Kirk. Doubtful he'll be teaming up with Calvin Ridley, at least as of right now. We'll certainly see what happens. Quickly, Sal, because I know you got to go. It's a very busy day for all of us. What type of player is he? I know he's 6'2". He's a bigger wide receiver, correct?
Yeah, he's a bigger wide receiver for sure. And he's physical. He's a very, very good run blocker. He rarely left the field in Buffalo.
Well, certainly interesting to see what happens. Again, both Mitch Morse and Gabe Davis of the Buffalo Bills have now come to Jacksonville, Florida. Sal, I believe this is the last time we're going to speak, but who knows at this point? It seems like Jacksonville is becoming Buffalo South. We certainly appreciate it, my friend, and if developments warrant, we'll have you back on in the near future. Thank you, my friend.
You got it. You got it. And obviously Jags at Bills next year becomes a little more interesting, Ryan.
There you go, Sal Capaccio. Obviously did that earlier in the day, literally as the Gabe Davis news broke. We were talking about Mitch Morse to Jacksonville, Gabe Davis also. A couple of takeaways there. It caught my eye, I guess my ear, listening to Sal, that apparently there are some concussion issues with Mitch Morse, at least in his past. Now, the guy's played 9 years in the league at a very, very high level. If you look at the games missed, he has not missed a lot of football games. I'll pull up the exact number. But whenever you hear concussion issues, that is a little bit of a red flag. Hopefully that doesn't materialize here, and he goes on to be the starting center for the Jaguars. That is certainly the idea. Luke Fortner, like I've said the entire offseason, good player, good backup. I don't need him being my starting center. I think Luke Fortner is going to be on the 53-man roster. I think he's one of your 9 best offensive linemen. I just don't think he's going to be your starting center. I think that'll be Mitch Morse. By the way, I'm looking at Morse's numbers right now. He started every game last year. So in his time in Buffalo, which was the last 5 years, he started 16, 14, 17, 13, and 17. Out of a possible, 5 years, he missed what? 4 games? So the concussion issues were from a while back, but there were some. So that is at least something to keep note of. Having said that, I think it's a great signing. The Jaguars are better at center now than they were 24 hours ago. Excuse me. With the Gabe Davis news, I think it's an exact replica of Christian Kirk. I really do. Some Jaguar fans, and I'm not stereotyping everybody, so don't say, oh, Hacker is saying all of us. I'm not. There are some of you that have been beaten down by this organization year after year after year after year, and I get it, man. I mean, I get it. I understand the frustration. I understand, 15 years of arguably being the worst team in the NFL. But it's almost as if you guys, some of you, are happier when you're complaining about something. Some of you just want to complain for the sake of complaining. Some of you believe the Jaguars can seemingly never do anything good or right. And some of you just don't like Trent Baalke. I don't know how you can be upset about the Gabe Davis signing. I really don't. Again, a 25-year-old, he's not even 25 yet. He will be in April. That has 27 career touchdown catches. has averaged 16 yards a catch last year. Oh, but he's never had more than 48 catches in a year. All right. Christian Kirk was never a 1,000-yard receiver before he came to Jacksonville because he was behind DeAndre Hopkins, much like Gabe Davis has been behind Stephon Diggs. It's okay to admit the Jaguars did something good or right, and they did something good or right with Gabe Davis. Now, what I'm curious about, as we continue to wait for Calvin Ridley, again, the question is, the longer this goes, is that good for Jacksonville in regards to Ridley? I would tend to believe it's probably better the longer it goes. I don't still believe Ridley is probably coming back. I hope I'm wrong about that. But I told you guys about that for weeks, that it was my opinion if Ridley got to the market, he was going to be gone. Now, where I was wrong was I thought Ridley would be gone in the first couple of hours. Obviously, that has not happened. As of 9:15, here on the East Coast, Ridley is still available. But what I'm curious about is, let's assume Ridley goes. Let's assume Ridley's gone. Well, then do you keep Zay Jones? And do you have a 3-wide receiver set of Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, and Zay Jones? Because all I heard today was Gabe Davis is the replacement for Zay Jones. Well, okay. Is that assuming Ridley's coming back? Because if Ridley's not coming back, I'm of the mindset, why don't you keep Zay? You could do a lot worse than Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, and Zay Jones as your 3 wideouts. Now, do they draft somebody in round 1 or round 2? Well, if so, then the conversation changes. But for the here and now, if Ridley leaves, I keep Zay because I like the idea of Gabe Davis, Zay Jones, and Christian Kirk with, oh, by the way, Evan Ingram and Travis Etienne. That's what you got right now. And we're waiting on word from Ridley. If Balky pulls off getting Ridley back, you want to talk about masterclass, that would be something. That would be something. I'm not holding my breath, but that would certainly be something. 641-1010 on the phone line and on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Less than 20 minutes from now, we'll go to Foxborough. We'll go to New England. Remember yesterday? It seems like a long time ago. The Jaguars are bringing back a Jacksonville native. Mac Jones, the former Bulls quarterback, coming to Jacksonville for a 6th-round pick. Boy, some of you were fired up by that news yesterday. I don't know why. It's an upgrade. He's better than C.J. Beathard. Do not give me C.J. Beathard is better than Mac Jones. Are you kidding? He's not. Neither one of them are starting quarterbacks in the league. But again, you could do a lot worse for a backup quarterback in 2024 than a guy that has 46 career touchdown passes and a guy that went to a Pro Bowl just 2 years ago, which is what Mac Jones did, mind you. So we'll talk with Zach Cox, my Patriots reporter up in Foxborough, about Mac Jones. That comes up in less than 20 minutes. Coming up next, back into the National Football League. We might sprinkle in a little college hoops as well. It is March Madness, by the way. Conference tournaments this week, and Selection Sunday is Sunday. And, oh yeah, the Players is out at Ponte Vedra this week. There's a little bit going on. We'll get into it next on a Monday night edition of Hacker After Dark.
The Florida Gators are on 1010XL.
The rivalry returns to the Diamond. Florida State Baseball. Tomorrow night at 6 on 1010 AM.
Attention veterans, if you have a VA loan, you need to listen to this, especially if your current rate is higher than 6.5%. Now is the time to take advantage of the federal government's VA Streamlined Refinance Program. With my friends at Loan Pronto, you can. Go to loanpronto.com. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto has fixed rate APRs in the 5s. You can drop your rate now. Lower your payment with no income documentation and no appraisal. Do it at loanpronto.com. Their all-digital platform makes it easy. They can even cover your closing costs. If you need cash now, Loan Pronto can get you up to 100% of your home value. You can pay off all your credit cards or other debt and save as much as $1,000 a month. Call Loan Pronto now at 904-999-1508 or get a 30-second rate quote at loanpronto.com. Ask about streamlined VA loans, no income doc, and no appraisal. Loan Pronto, 999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
It's the 60th Bob Hayes Invitational Track Meet, March 14 through 16. Track events will be held at Hodges Stadium on the campus of UNF. Thursday, March 14, the annual Hall of Fame Gala at the Potter's House International. Friday, March 15, the first collegiate meet at 10 a.m. and the Coach Day Middle School Track Meet, 5 p.m. On Saturday, March 16, the annual Bob Hayes Invitational Track and Field Meet at 8:30 a.m. at Hodges Stadium. For information and tickets, visit bhitm22.org. Presented by the City of Jacksonville and Pepsi.
Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org.
For Canine Veterans Day, Navy Mutual would like to salute all active and retired canines that have served our country. Canine Veterans Day has been officially designated as a day to honor these unique members of our military. America salutes you.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is now offering online scheduling for new patient appointments for all of their positions. Simply schedule your appointment on your cell phone, tablet, or desktop. JOI is the first orthopedic practice in North Florida to offer this feature to patients. To schedule your appointment online, visit joi.net and click on the button at the top of the page. If you'll be using insurance, be sure and have your information handy. JOI, where the pros go.
I'm Hacker. Get more Gators on the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists with new episodes every Wednesday. Subscribe and listen by searching for 1010XL Florida Gator Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or TuneIn.
Hicken here. The Borland Groover Foundation proudly presents the annual March to Get Screened 5K race and 1 mile fun run. Sunday, April 14th. The race starts at 7 a.m. under the Fuller Warren Bridge. Their mission, raise awareness about colorectal cancer and related deaths. All proceeds benefit the Borland Groover Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
If you'd like to work for the Jumbo Shrimp this season, bring your resume to 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark, Saturday, March 16th from 10 to 1. Learn more at jackshrimp.com.
The Wounded Warrior Project provides what medicine and technology can't: community, counseling, and a second chance. Find ways to help at woundedwarriorproject.org.
If you'd like to play in the Northeast Florida Cornhole Tournament at Wingate Park May 18th,
register at tsunami10u@mail.com.
It benefits Tsunami Fast Pitch Softball.
If you're between ages 16 and 24, you can learn a career in construction, electrical, plumbing, or masonry with free training from the AMI Kids Florida Registered Pre-Apprenticeship Program. Call 576-7337.
There's a critical need for all blood types. Please consider donating at a local blood donation center.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
To thank you for 40 unforgettable years, Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Ball forward, take your base.
The only thing worse than a pitcher running out of gas on the mound is your old phone running out of storage for your photos in the stands.
Goodbye, home run.
Switch to Verizon and get a great deal on a new iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage for all the ballpark pics you want. Just trade in your iPhone, any model, in any condition, so you'll feel like you're winning, even when your team's not. Trade in any iPhone in any condition for a great deal on iPhone 15 Pro with Unlimited Ultimate, and get iPad and Apple Watch SE with eligible service plan, only on Verizon.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
It's been all Jaguars, all free agency, all the time. Tonight here on Hacker After Dark. It's interesting, too, in that all the NFL, and Denmark, you brought this up, and it happens every year, the NFL is not going to play a competitive football game, a game that matters, for almost 6 months. And they are such the king of sports that here we are on Monday, March the 11th, and that's seemingly all anybody is talking about.
Oh, I mean, think about it. Baseball starts in a couple of weeks. College basketball just ended its regular season. The NBA has a month left, and yet the only thing anybody cares to talk about is strategy on how NFL teams are going to win 6 months from now.
I love it. I love it. And we're as guilty of it as anybody. The NFL is king. There is no question about it. But in the time we have left, again, we're going to get back into the NFL in less than 15 minutes. We're going to go to New England, talk with Zach Cox. He's my Patriots guy up there, about Mac Jones and Mac Jones returning to Jacksonville. Kind of what New England thought of that, why it didn't work out for him up there. I think you'll find some of his comments pretty interesting. College basketball, the Florida Gators, that was embarrassing on Saturday. You want to talk about a lack of effort, lack of intensity, looking like they did not want to be there, not getting any loose ball, not grabbing any rebound. To lose to Vanderbilt, ridiculous. Ridiculous. And, as I've gotten older, Denmark, I've seen the error of my ways. When I was younger than you, when I was your age, and quite frankly, probably up until, 30, seemingly every time Florida lost a football or a basketball game, you know whose fault it was? It's the officials. Oh, the refs gave us the business. But as I've gotten into reality, now at 40 years of age, still probably the oldest 40-year-old in Jacksonville, and as I've put on my objective broadcast journalist hat, no longer wearing the orange and blue goggles that, quite frankly, I probably wore 15 years ago, it is nauseating on social media watching any Gator basketball game or football game, I guess, because the Gators never lose. They only get the business from the referees. Like, the Gators didn't lose to Vanderbilt in the eyes of many. It's Tyrese Samuel got called for a ridiculous foul, which gave Vanderbilt the win. The foul was ridiculous. It was a terrible call. But I don't know, maybe if you're Walter Clayton inbounding the ball up one with 20 seconds to go, here's a thought, maybe don't get it stolen. Did the referees do that to you? And most fan bases are like it, I would assume. I just have an obscene amount of Gator fans on my timeline. I'm calling the pot the kettle black here, and I'm throwing stones in a glass house because I was this way, but at least I had enough sense to grow out of it as I've gotten older. Every time you lose, it's not the referee's fault, all right? The referees aren't out to get you. There wasn't some grand plan in Nashville that said, you know what? Let's let Jerry Stackhouse and the 8-win Vanderbilt Commodores beat you. Give me a break.
Didn't Saturday, though, not that this makes us feel any better, like, it was upset Saturday around college basketball in the SEC, almost felt like.
It was. And for Florida, it literally did not matter as far as the SEC tournament. Now, it probably mattered as far as the NCAA tournament. People will tell you they might have been a 6 seed, outside chance of a 5 seed. They've probably dropped to a 7. But look, okay. So in the second round, you're going to play the number 8 ranked team in the country or the number 10 ranked team in the country. I'm not really sure how much that matters. Maybe a little. And who knows? I actually like Florida's draw. Florida gets the winner of Missouri and Georgia, who they're a combined 4-0 against. So Missouri, Georgia play Wednesday night. Florida gets that winner on Thursday night. If Florida wins that game, they would then get Alabama Friday night in the quarters. Florida beat Alabama, beat the brakes off of Alabama last week, and should have beat them in Tuscaloosa. So I actually like the Gators' draw. But as I always say, this time of year particularly, when you're not battling for a number 1 seed, Denmark, is it good to lose in the conference tournament early? Do you want to play 3 games in 3 days and then have only 5 days until your NCAA tournament kicks off?
Depends how your team is. If you're a streaky team, you want to go into the tournament hot.
I get that. I get wanting to go into the tournament hot. But for Florida to win the SEC tournament, they would have to win 4 games in 4 days and then turn right back around, basically travel to wherever they're going because they could be on the floor as early as Thursday.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a lot.
If you're Florida, you can win 2, lose. You could beat Alabama and then lose up to Kentucky probably, and then you could still be a 6 or 7 seed and be fine.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'd love to win the SEC tournament. That'd be great. But the idea of having to win 4 games in 4 days just to turn right back around and have the NCAA tournament win-or-go-home scenario 4 days after that, that seems like a lot on the Gators' plate. But we'll see. And by the way, if you didn't know this, they're the late games. They're tipping off late Thursday night. They are scheduled for 9:30 Eastern. That's scheduled. That'll probably turn into close to 10 o'clock Eastern. So you're going to be up late with Florida. And if they win Thursday, same thing on Friday. It'll be a late tip against Alabama. Also, the players this week, we'll certainly get more into that as the week goes on. Gary Smits of the Times-Union will join us. We'll have Joe Coward on. We'll have you covered if you're a golf fan this week with the players. I'll say this about the players before we get to Zach Cox. I look at the field, and I know they're only losing, I think, 6 of the top 80 guys in the world that are part of the LIV Golf Tour. But, man, no Mickelson, no Sergio, no DeChambeau, no Koepka. The players gets hurt by the LIV Tour more than any other tournament because that's always been considered the 5th major. Well, the other 4 majors allow the LIV guys to play. The players doesn't. So there's a lot of guys that fans would love to see at Sawgrass that just aren't here because of the LIV Golf Tour, which is disappointing certainly, but it's where we are now in the golf universe. More on that in the days to come. Back into the Jaguars. Mac Jones, the former Bulls star, coming home to Jacksonville. What was the New England reaction? Why didn't it work out for him up there? Zach Cox, longtime Patriots reporter. He's my guy in Foxborough. Let's talk about Mac Jones next. It's a Monday night edition of Hacker After Dark. And Jacksonville, as always, we're glad you're with us.
Hey, I'm Joey Logano.
Joey Logano, he's already built a Hall of Fame career. Today, he etches his name in stone. Logano is a 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champion.
And you're listening to 1010XL Jack Sports Radio.
Attention all business owners. The raining season is coming and it's important to ensure that your property storm drains are free from debris and functioning properly. That's where Duck Duck Rooter comes in. Our powerful VACCon truck can effectively clean out your storm drains and prevent costly damage to your property from flooding. Don't let clogged storm drains ruin your business and reputation. Call Duck Duck Rooter today to schedule a cleaning before the rains hit. 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckrooter.com.
15,000 workers. I'm Brian Rose from Remedy Staffing. We survey 15,000 blue-collar workers each year to better understand what drives quality and dependability in our workforce. The survey shows when looking for a new job, the initial pay rate, job security, and safety while working are the most important factors for hourly workers. If you're an employer and would like to learn more about the voice of the blue-collar worker, please call us at 904-528-1933.
It's time, basketball bettors. It's March Mania. Hicken here to tell you about BetUS.com. I endorse one sportsbook and casino, BetUS. They've been driving to the basket for 30 years. This year, BetUS has an epic three-pointer, a 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Yep, 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started. Visit BetUS.com or give them a call, 1-800-MyBetUS. BetUS, where the game begins.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
On the field, he brought the boom.
I'll always be a linebacker at heart.
He brings that attitude to the microphone.
I'm Jaguars Today's middle linebacker, Kyle McMahon.
Friday from 10 to noon. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here. You've heard me talking about Pella Windows and Doors, and with great ratings and expert reviews, you know they're high quality and energy efficient products. So what's your next step? How about scheduling a free consultation or just stop by the Pella showroom right there on Phillips Highway next to Tesla. Pella's professional consultants will guide you through your entire project from start to finish. From simple projects to complex renovations, their team has the experience needed to make your project a success. And that's the quality and service you can expect from Pella Windows and Doors.
Picking here, you know at Zero Res they love rugs. Fine oil rugs need to be cleaned with the right equipment and careful training. My guy at Zero Res, Gerard, is a certified master rug cleaner and has been cleaning rugs for more than 5 years. Don't trust your fine rugs to anyone. Call Zero Res right now. They are offering a BOGO on rug cleaning. Have Zero Res clean one rug, get a second rug for free. What a great time to get your rugs cleaned. Zero Res, man. Spell it forward, spell it backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
You know what happens when a smart group of medical professionals get together and commit to a technology designed to relieve your aching joints without surgery? It's called QC Kinetics.
And this guy knows the power of a solid team. Emmitt Smith, football legend and Dancing with the Stars champ.
This elite medical group, some of them orthopedic doctors, got together and said, why are we prescribing so many medications? Why are we sending so many people to surgery in droves? Let's change this.
The answer? Natural biologics, our own healing properties. And the outcome is the country's largest provider of non-surgical regenerative treatments, QC Kinetics.
Actually, the real outcome are the tens of thousands of patients who finally got their quality of life back without surgery. Thanks to QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
To thank you for 40 unforgettable years, Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs, like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Ball forward, take your base.
The only thing worse than a pitcher running out of gas on the mound is your old phone running out of storage for your photos in the stands.
Goodbye, home run.
Switch to Verizon and get a great deal on a new iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage for all the ballpark pics you want. Just trade in your iPhone, any model, in any condition, so you'll feel like you're winning, even when your team's not. Trade in any iPhone in any condition for a great deal on iPhone 15 Pro with unlimited ultimate and get iPad and Apple Watch SE with eligible service plan. Only on Verizon.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. Well, the Jaguars did not wait till the legal tampering period to get new players on their roster, as yesterday, out of really nowhere, a boy is coming home. Former Bulls high school standout Mac Jones is now coming to Jacksonville, presumably to back up Trevor Lawrence. The Jaguars used a 6th-round pick to acquire Mac from the New England Patriots, a former top 15 overall selection, a former Pro Bowl selection up in Foxborough. Let's head to New England. Zach Cox is our guy up there when it comes to the Patriots. He's covered the Patriots for a while, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Zach, how you doing?
Doing well, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Zach, always appreciate it. We were stunned yesterday. What was the reaction up there knowing Mac Jones is no longer a New England Patriot?
I would not say people up here were especially surprised that Mac Jones was traded. The destination of the trade, I think, caught some people by surprise. Jacksonville wasn't really mentioned as one of the kind of most likely suitors for Mac Jones, and it's going to be a bit of an interesting situation for him down there now that he's going to be backing up a fellow member of the 2021 draft class in Trevor Lawrence. But yeah, it really run its course for Mac up here. A really promising, really impressive rookie season. But then 2022, 2023, just outright disasters for Jones. Not all of that was his fault. I think a lot of it wasn't his fault. But there really wasn't a path forward for him in New England.
Zach, the big question, why did it not work out for Mac Jones up there? What were the issues?
I think the biggest issue is really just what Bill Belichick did from a personnel standpoint and a coaching standpoint. As a rookie back in 2021, as I mentioned, Mac Jones, solid season, ended up going to the Pro Bowl as an alternate. Patriots won 10 games, made the playoffs that year. But that offseason, Josh McDaniels, Patriots former offensive coordinator, he leaves to become the head coach of the Raiders. And rather than replace him with any sort of qualified candidate, Bill Belichick decided to have Matt Patricia, a longtime defensive coach, be the offensive coordinator, and Joe Judge, a longtime special teams coach, be Jones's quarterback coach. Those were two guys that had zero experience in those respective roles. And I think that really kind of derailed Mac Jones' career here in New England, coupled with the fact that the Patriots really struggled up front on the offensive line for the last 2 years, and their collection of wide receivers and skill players in general ranked among the worst in the NFL. Now, Mac didn't handle a lot of that situation well himself. He had some real issues with his body language, his leadership. Things just kind of came unraveled for him, and it was clear by about the midway point of this season that his confidence was just completely and totally shot. But I do think there's still a talented player in there if somebody can put him in the proper situation and maybe build him back up mentally.
Patriots reporter Zach Cox here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Zach, I know you cover that team as closely as anybody, man. We heard rumblings about issues in the locker room, issues with the coaching staff. You alluded to the body language issue for Mac Jones. Was there anything to all those rumblings about him in the last year or two?
There definitely was, yeah. Again, I think if you're placing the blame for why things didn't work out with Mac Jones, you place that far more on Bill Belichick, in my opinion, than on Mac himself. But when everything around him started to devolve a little bit, as I mentioned, he didn't handle it as well as he should have. You look at some of the games from especially late in the 2022 season, he's just throwing up his hands. He's yelling at coaches and players on the field. He's really just looking frantic most of the time. And then there was some of that behind the scenes as well, some things that Bill Belichick wasn't especially pleased with about the way that Mac Jones was handling some of his struggles. So I think if you ask Mac, he would say that he wishes he handled some of those things better, maybe had a little bit more maturity. But I think that's the hope now, that he's going to go to a situation where he's not going to be expected to be the starter. He'll have some time to sort of rebuild his game and rebuild his psyche and all of those things. Because, they were they appeared irreparably broken by the time he was finally benched in New England late this past season. So we'll see if the promising player that we saw 2 years ago is still in there.
Final moments, Zach Cox, Patriots reporter, here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Zach, elaborate more on that, because we remember Mac from his time. I mean, heck, he played high school football 15 minutes away from where I'm talking to you right now. He went out to Alabama and obviously had a great career out there, is a first-round pick. I mean, obviously a humbling experience. How do you think he's going to react now to clearly being the backup to a guy that he was drafted with only back in 2021? I mean, that's going to be, again, a humbling experience, I guess is the right verbiage. How do you believe Mac will respond to that when he arrives here?
It has to be humbling, I would imagine, especially because if you look back to the 2021 season, which was Mac's rookie year and Trevor Lawrence's rookie year, the season that Jones had was far and away the best of any rookie quarterback that year. I mean, Trevor Lawrence struggled as a rookie, and basically everybody else from that class has pretty much fallen flat. So I think Mac can be sitting there saying, man, I was clearly the best quarterback in this class a year or two ago, and now I'm going to be backing up somebody like that. And I mean, I imagine that in Jacksonville, there's no danger of Trevor Lawrence losing that job unless he suffers an injury or his game just completely and totally falls apart. So I think this has to be a situation now for Mac where he has to take it with some humility. He has to be humbled a little bit from it and say, okay, there's probably not a path to being a starter in Jacksonville, but if I do the right things behind the scenes, if I play well in the preseason and training camp, in any other kind of setting that I can find, maybe I'll get an opportunity to potentially start somewhere else down the road, maybe at the trade deadline next year or next off season, and just kind of view this as a career reset. And I'm sure based on the way everything fell apart here, he has to be probably pretty excited to just get out of New England and start fresh somewhere else, even though I'm sure he would have preferred to be in a place where there was maybe a clearer path to a starting job. But I think a fresh start is definitely going to be best for both sides here.
And he comes home, which is an interesting thing. And let's be honest, he's on probably a one-year deal because he's set to become a free agent, I believe, after this season if the Jaguars don't pick up that option. Zach, finally, before we talk about Gerard Mayo briefly, I'm curious what's going on up there with him. The thing with Mac is, and I brought this up yesterday, he's not a starting quarterback, at least to me in the NFL right now. But you're not going to find a much better backup, right? I mean, with all the injuries with quarterbacks, Trevor missed some time last year with injuries. I mean, Mac Jones, you could do a lot worse than that for a backup quarterback in the National Football League.
You absolutely could, yeah. I think if he plays to the level that we've seen him play at in his career, I think you have to rank him among the better starting quarterbacks, or better backup quarterbacks, rather, in the NFL. That's assuming that you don't get the Mac Jones that we saw for basically the final, 10, 12 weeks of the 2023 season where he just looked completely lost out there. But it's going to be a mindset thing for him too. It's because you really have two different styles of backup quarterbacks. You have the kind of Case Keenum, Jacoby Brissett types that kind of come in and they say, okay, I know I'm not trying to compete for the starting job here. I'm going to support the starter and also get ready to play. If you have a younger guy in that role who still thinks that he should be a starter, there's potential for some kind of discontent behind the scenes. I don't know exactly what the relationship is like between Mac and Trevor Lawrence. I know that they know each other. I believe they competed against each other on some high school circuits back in the day, so at least they have some familiarity with each other. But I think if Mac comes into this and says, I'm going to beat out Trevor for this starting job, and that's going to be my kind of number one focus, then you could have some discontent behind the scenes. But I think he'll be realistic about it and go in and kind of want to help the team while also sort of rehabbing his game and his image and hoping he gets an opportunity somewhere else down the road.
Hey, Zach, final question. We got about 90 seconds. Life after Bill Belichick, what's it been like for the first couple of months?
It's different. Gerard Mayo, new Patriots head coach. He played under Belichick. He coached under Belichick. But it's very clear from these early stages that he's not going to handle things exactly like Bill Belichick. He plans on being a little bit more open with the media, a little bit more player friendly. He's going to have a much larger coaching staff. The Patriots have about 20 new assistant coaches coming in. We'll see how he does as a head coach because he has never done it before, but I know he has a lot of support inside Gillette Stadium from ownership and from the members of the roster. So I think expectations are pretty high, but again, it's going to be a very steep challenge to replace somebody like Bill Belichick.
Patriots reporter Zach Cox, he's our guy up in Foxborough when it comes to the Patriots, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Zach, thank you for the time. As always, brother, we'll do it again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And thank you to Zach Cox, Patriots reporter, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Zach is our guy when it comes to the New England Patriots up in Foxborough. And isn't it interesting, the Mac Jones story, that seems like so long ago, right? It was yesterday. It's been a very active 30 or so hours for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And look, they've done a lot of nice things. Even going back to the Ezra Cleveland re-signing, I really liked that at the time. You bring in Mac Jones now to back up Trevor Lawrence. You have a brand new starting center in Mitch Morse. You got a big-time playmaker at wide receiver in Gabe Davis, presumably a new starting safety in Darnell Savage. Devin Duvernay is a former Pro Bowler and a former All-Pro on special teams. So the Jaguars did a lot of nice things. I would imagine they're probably mostly done unless they free up some more money. So I still have some big questions about the interior of the defensive line. Certainly some questions at corner remain, but I'm overall happy with what Jacksonville has done. They obviously need to address kicker too, with Will Lutz saying basically yes, but no thank you, and going back to Denver. They have Riley Patterson here, but they certainly probably want to address kicker later on in free agency, or certainly in the draft coming up in late April. Well, that'll just about do it, man. It has been a crazy busy Monday here on 1010XL and on Hacker After Dark, and we certainly appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. We got a lot of people to thank. And again, Patriots reporter Zach Cox for joining us, as he always does when the Patriots and Jaguar news crosses over. Same thing with my guy Sal Capaccio, WGR Radio in Buffalo. He's also the sideline reporter on the Bills Radio Network, breaking down both Mitch Morse and Gabe Davis, two former Buffalo Bills that are both on their way to Jacksonville. We appreciate Sal taking time out for us tonight, and my buddy Hayes Carline. You hear him every day on the Frangie Show. You also get him right here on Hacker After Dark. It was a very busy day for all of us today, and we appreciate Hayes taking time out for us this evening. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Tuesday. Are you kidding me? Ladies and gentlemen of Jacksonville, Florida, let me ask you a question. Where else would you rather be? And I mean this, man. Where else would you rather be from 10 o'clock to midnight on a Tuesday than right here with Dylan Denmark and yours truly on Hacker After Dark? And we do hope that you join us then. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Monday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 90.